Peace and blessings to the chosen. Shalom. First and foremost, all praises, glory, and honor be to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Salutations to the Akim, pushing the truth of sincerity and charity. And I'm the brother Yalad. I want to start off with this scripture as the introduction before I even talk about what this video will be about. Ecclesiastes chapter 3, from the top. To everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven. And as the scriptures continue all the way down to 9 even, it says time to love and a time to hate, time of war and a time of peace. So there's a time for everything, and that's a balance. There's also times to fool around and find out. Now, the scripture says, I think I have it here in the disclaimer, Sirach 5:15. It says, "Be not ignorant of anything in a great matter or a small." But I'm telling you that sometimes you have to fool around and find out, to experiment, to know things. You know, and you there's certain things that you have to experience, whether it be with travel, right? It says a man that traveled, right? Sirach 34:10. He that had no experience knoweth little, but he that had traveled is full of prudence. When I traveled, I saw many things, and I understood more than I can express. I was oft times in danger of death, yet I was delivered because of these things. Right? So experience, man, will give you understanding on certain things. And there are times that you should not fool around and find out. And there's times that you have to play with things. Oftentimes when I say I fix something for somebody, and it could be anything that I fix up or set up for somebody, and I tell them play with it to make sure you know what you working with. Play with it to make sure it's working, right? And then there's some things you don't play with. So I wrote here in the notes that some things you have to experiment with, but some doors don't need to be open. Even more so the ones that are hard to close, right? So there's what they call the Pandora's box, the wrong thing to open, because now you can't put it all back in the box. Now you done started something you can't finish. You see, so some doors you shouldn't open, but it's some things that you have to fool around with. You have to play with. You have to experiment. Maybe I should get that word, experiment. The action of observing or testing. Yeah, you have to test some things. Why? It says trial. Yeah. Proof. Example. How do you know a thing if you never test it? You got to test yourself sometimes, right? Don't the scripture say examine yourself? So yeah, I'm gonna put the ensemble of how King Solomon, he experimented with some things, and he was the wisest king in history. It says, according to history, he's the wisest king. Well, he's very known for his wisdom. It says Ecclesiastes 1:17, I gave my heart, which is the mind, to know wisdom and to know madness and folly. I perceive that this also is vexation of spirit. For in much wisdom is much grief, and he that increaseth knowledge increases sorrow. So he gave his mind over to things, as far as playing out scenarios or testing certain things. And he may have let his mind, I don't want to say wander, but he meditated on a lot of folly, a lot of things that were more serious matters and not folly, right? But the great disclaimer in all this is that there has to be a discernment when you play with things. So it says in Tobit 4:14, let not the wages of any man which hath wrought for thee tarry with thee, but give him it out of hand, for if thou serve God, he will also repay thee. Be circumspect, my son, in all things thou doest, and be wise in thy conversation. So you have to be circumspect. You have to be careful, cautious. And if the Spirit is dealing with you, it'll give you the wisdom to know what to tamper with and what to not tamper with, what to test and what to not test. Verse 15, it says, do that to no man which thou hatest. So that's another thing to keep in mind, right? Treat other people how you want to be treated. That's a very simple thing. And that's something that will go along the list of not tampering with that either. Because then how would you feel if it were done unto you? It continuing on, it says, drink not wine to make thee drunken, not to let drunkenness go with thee in thy journey. Right. That's another way that you don't want to fool around and find out. Going into places drunk when you need to be sober and focused. It's a time to drink some strong drink. It's a time to drink some wine. But then there's times that you're not supposed to do that, and you're going to fool around and find out. Okay, certain places you don't show up with being intoxicated, they call it. But nevertheless, I encourage the listener to this video that there are some things that you should play with more often. And certain things you shouldn't be afraid of. You know, some men or some young men, they afraid of talking to girls, man. Right? And just go talk to her, you know. I mean, it's the worst that's gonna happen. She gonna say no. Like what? That's the worst that's gonna happen. She gonna bite your hand off. I mean, not granted, it's some pretty bad stuff that could happen, but because a lot of these women have demons on them, I say that. But you know, if you afraid of talking to a female, it's just a person in the flesh. Go talk to her. Like, it ain't, you know, that's something you can fool around with. Because then guess what? You'll know how to talk to girls better the more you experiment with that. And that's just an example of something you can fool around with. Play with. Let me get the definition of play, since I keep saying play, because I believe play goes into folly. And the root word of folly is fool or foolishness. Let me see. Is this what I want? I don't think it's anything. Well, it says to occupy oneself about, play. Right. So sometimes I guess it's says perform music, so maybe that's talking about an actual play that you go to watch. Then it's a form of play that's when you mock somebody, to make sport of, frolic, engage in active exercise. Oh, it says occupy or busy oneself, or amuse oneself. So yeah, I really hope this was edifying, and that don't fool around and find out the wrong way. Fool around and find out the right way. But yeah, no, hopefully this was edifying. That being said, all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai. Shalom.